Hey, it's Cam here with Auxilium Mortgage. Lots of changes in the world of things in British Columbia. Well, let's see. Let's talk about what's going on, and we'll talk about some of the things that are of interest as well. Sometimes we get questions about the BC speculation and vacancy tax. Well, let's talk about what it is. The BC speculation and vacancy tax is a levy that was placed on BC homes that are vacant homes or homes that are empty more than 6 months of 1 year. Now, while homes can remain empty part of the year for a number of reasons, back when this tax was brought in, speculation by foreign investors was having a large impact on the housing availability, and that's why the provincial government brought it in. However, before we blame foreign buyers for everything, they aren't the only drivers of speculation. About 30% of BC's housing stock is owned by Canadians who own multiple properties. So it isn't just the foreign investors that were cause of the problem. The tax policy first applied to urban areas, and the BC government has recently expanded it and added more municipalities. So now there's a total of 59 municipalities where these rules apply. How does the tax work? Well, simple. If you own a home in one of the designated areas of BC and your home is vacant or is empty more than 6 months in a year, you will be required to pay the speculation and vacancy tax on that property. Now, this is regardless of whether you live in your home full-time, rent it out, or it is vacant or empty for more than 6 months of the year. If you live in one of the designated areas, you are required to submit a declaration every year. That's paramount that you do that. Now, the tax applies as follows if it's applicable. 2% for foreign owners and satellite families. A satellite family is a family where less than 50% of the combined household income is taxed in Canada. Or 0.05% for Canadian citizens or permanent residents who are not part of a satellite family. Now, if you do have to pay the tax, there are some exemptions that you may be eligible for. BC homeowners could be eligible for a tax credit up to $2,000 on a second property. Foreign owners and satellite families can claim a tax credit up to 20% of their BC income. And non-BC residents are eligible for tax credit based on their income claimed in BC. As always, it's really important that you get proper legal advice on these matters. Talk to an accountant. You can talk to the provincial government. Now, also, there may be some other taxes. If you live in Vancouver, lucky you, you may have to also need to pay the empty homes tax and possibly as well a federal tax on underused or vacant housing called the underused housing tax. Bottom line, folks, we have a lot of taxes. We're constantly taxed in this province, and it's never ending. To keep up is just so hard. So again, talk to a professional, talk to an accountant, get some advice. Now, speaking of taxes, well, we've got another one. We've got the BC home flipping tax. Actually, that's right. I kind of say it really fast. It's a flipping tax. Yeah, I guess I can say it that way. Anyway, what is it? Property flipping involves purchasing a residential property and reselling the property in a short period of time to realize a profit. This also includes reselling the rights to purchase a property before its official sale. That could be like in a condo development where you bought it early and you're in a pre-sale and you sell your rights to it. So how will this new tax work? Well, it's going to work like this. The tax rate will be the highest for those who own properties for the shortest period and will decline the longer the property is owned. The tax rate will be 20% for income earned from properties sold within 365 days of a purchase, basically here, and will decline to 0 between 366 and 730. The government will have a sliding scale for this. Now, you may be exempt from paying tax on income earned from the sale of your property if you're eligible for an exemption. Again, that's where you're going to need a tax professional to come in. Who will be subject to the tax? If you sell your property on or after January 1st, 2025, income earned from the sale of your property may be subject to this new tax if the property was purchased less than 2 years prior. Whether income earned from the sale of your property is subject to the tax depends on when you purchase the property and when you obviously sell it. So as an example, if you purchased a property on May 1st, 2023, last year, and sold the property on January 31st, 2025, the income you earned from the sale of the property would be taxable. Because again, this comes in effect January 1st, 2025, and even though you bought it prior to the introduction of this tax, you sold it after January 2025, and it was still within 2 years from the original purchase date. Now, if you decide not to sell a property until June, so let's say you bought it in May of 2023, now you're over the 2 years, this would not be applicable to you. The seller of the property may be a BC resident or a resident anywhere in the world. Now, there are a few exemptions that the government's outlined so far. They are, let's say the sale of the property was due to a separation or divorce, or someone simply passed away. A disability or illness forced you to sell it because you couldn't make the mortgage payments. Relocation for work, involuntary job loss, change in household membership, personal safety, or insolvency, basically bankruptcy. Now again, the best thing to do in this sort of situation is to get proper legal advice, accounting advice, and of course check in with the government. So those are those kinds of things that have come into play. Now bear in mind that this tax is on top of any other tax the federal government may impose when they deem that your property you're living in was in a principal residence. Again, a great reason to get more legal advice. Now, a couple of other things we're going to talk about today, and that is the property first-time home buyers program, and it's been enhanced. That's right. It used to be that you could purchase a property as a first-time home buyer, a pre-owned home, up to $500,000, and you were exempt from the property transfer tax. And they had a sliding scale between 5 and 525. However, the program has now been enhanced to $835,000. So, in a nutshell, what this simply means is up to the first $500,000 if you're a first-time homeowner, you're buying the principal, this is your principal residence, like the home you're going to live in, it's not a rental, and you've never ever owned a property before, like I said, it's like a used home, you would now only pay property transfer tax between $500,000 and up to a maximum of $835,000. So that means that only taxable portion will be, let's say the house was $835,000, would be that $335,000 at a rate of 2%, basically resulting in about $2,700 is what you'd roughly pay, okay? So that is what that's simply gonna boil down to. That's something you need to know. Now, between $835 and $860, the government's gonna have a sliding scale. Again, we're waiting to hear what that is. Bottom line, that's how that program works, okay? Now, another thing that they've enhanced at the same time is the Newly Built Home Exemption. Now, this doesn't matter whether you're a first-time buyer, you've owned a home before, whatever. So long as this is your principal residence and this property is brand new, effective April 1st, 2024, the fair market value for the exemption will increase from $750,000 to $1.1 million. That's right. You could buy a new condo, townhouse, whatever type of home, even if it's $1.1 million and you've owned homes before, as long as you are meeting the criteria of considered a BC resident, all of those sorts of things, you would not have to pay any property transfer tax. Now again, there will be a sliding scale between 1.1 million and 1.150. They're going to figure that out, and again, they'll post that as well. So these are some pretty significant changes for people, especially those of you who've been thinking about purchasing a home in the very near future. Those tax savings are certainly going to equate to a lot of dollars. With the pre-owned homes, that $500,000 essentially is saving you $8,000. Actually, yeah, it's about $8,000. So that's a significant savings. And with a newly built home, that $1.1 million, if you think about it, that's almost a $20,000 savings. So pretty massive. Anyway, those are just some of the programs that have recently come out. Obviously, there's lots of changes that happen all the time. We try to stay up to speed on things at Auxilium. That's what we're here for. Our name simply means to care, aid, assist, and support. And if you need anything with regard to any of this, looking to get pre-approved for a mortgage, looking to pull equity out of a home, whether you're a first-time buyer or you're buying your 20th home, whatever it may be, reach out to us. We'd love to help you out, and we're always ready to assist. And we help BC residents all over the place. So no matter where you are, from Vancouver Island to Vanderhoof or wherever you may be, we look forward to helping you.